You just delivered us a plate of food that was like the best barbecue plus a whole layer of uniqueness on top of it. And I know that you learned a lot of the barbecue from Texas, but what I'm trying to figure out is like, where'd you get the Egyptian flavor from? Obviously, I know you're from there, but did you grow up in a house that taught you that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I grew up in a household, my entire family cooks and they love cooking, they love food. I grew up loving food and loving to eat. I realized my love for cooking when I was a teenager, but I definitely grew up like very, very familiar with the deep roots of the Egyptian cuisine and flavors. And, and it's been a learning curve for me, like, you know, figuring out what works well with the American palate.
Yeah.
And how to make unique dishes that will blend well with Texas barbecue.
Yeah.
So I always say that my menu has 3 components. Number 1 is the classic Texas barbecue. You know, we have the smoked brisket. It's very traditional. We make jalapeno cheddar sausage. Our execution of smoking meats and the techniques are very traditional, but the flavors are very different. And then we have the Egyptian side, like you got the baladi salad, even the mac and cheese, and hibiscus tea and tahini, and all of these things are very traditional Egyptian.
Yeah.
And then you got the perfect marriage of both.
Yes.
Two together.
I mean, I had the brisket rice bowl, and I was like, the things that are in this you would never think to put together, but you did it perfectly. Like it was amazing. And I'm gonna tell you, we came here today, neither of us loving lamb. Neither of us.
No.
I ordered 1 lamb chop, and that was my mistake. I should have ordered 12. I should have ordered 12 so we could take them home. And now my only question is, can you come to my house for Thanksgiving and make those? Because that I've never had anything like that before. So why is it so different here than any other lamb I've ever had? Do we just not know how to do that in Texas?
I think so. Yeah. Really, because you know, Habibi, shukran. Because you know, I mean, first of all, the number of people that come up to the window and tell me I have never had lamb before is incredible.
Yeah.
Second of all, no one cooks lamb for barbecue.
Okay.
And I think for me, like I grew up eating lamb. For me, like lamb and barbecue, they just go hand in hand. I grew up eating mutton too, which is way more gamey, way more fatty and gamey. So yes, I think that people just don't know. People just didn't grow up eating it. They're not familiar with it, and there's just a whole stigma that lamb is game. Yeah. When for me, it's not. Like lamb is farmed. It's not a game. It's not a game meat. It's not like a rare thing that, you know, and I mean, I know it's an acquired taste. It has flavor. It has a flavor to it. But I think the chops, though, they are the least gamey because they're more tender and it absorbs flavor quickly. And we season it with a pretty heavily spiced rub. So it has like 7 different spices on it, and it's only a dry rub. Actually, we just dry rub and smoke. So it is the best cut that if you want to introduce people to lamb, lamb chops is always the first cut you should.
Well, I'm going to offend. In my real life, I'm a hairstylist. I do a ton of Greek clients. I have a ton of Greeks. And they've made me a lamb before, and it's never been like what I had today. Never. So I just offended all my Greek clients, but the Egyptians got the lamb under wraps. Like it was freaking amazing. Okay, do you dabble in anything else? Like pastry? Are you like a closet baker? Do you pastry?
Oh, no,
nothing?
Not at all.
You don't have time.
I don't. I mean, I like eating pastries. I don't like making.
You don't like making pastries
at
all.
Even like I love making desserts, but all of the desserts that I make are all like stovetop desserts.
Right.
Like rice pudding.
Yes.
Even the bread pudding is a very simple dessert.
Yeah.
It's not something that I make even from scratch. Like the pastry, we buy the puff pastry.
Yeah.
And we bake the pastry, and then we just crumble it with steeped milk with cinnamon and vanilla.
Yeah.
But I always made stovetop desserts because I'm not someone who likes making dough and mixing and making breads and cakes I make cookies.
Yeah, okay.
I like cookies.
Okay.
I'll bake cookies. Yeah.
I have a very hard time thinking that you have time to do anything. We waited an hour and a half today, and you're just nonstop. I mean, nonstop every day. So you've created quite an empire here. And it's amazing.
I really did, and I would have not been able to do this without the incredible team that I have.
Right.
I work the truck on Sundays. I'm here on the line cutting.
Yeah.
But almost every other day, I have a whole team that does the whole thing, and
really,
I give my thanks to them for the growth of the business. I was only able to go out there and be on Netflix and go, do all these things that
Yeah.
are let us grow, because I have a team that I can trust, and I
Yeah.
can leave here trusting that they will do, what I would do in
They'll
this
handle
business.
it,
So,
yeah.
so
Yes.
I really
That's huge.
would have been nothing without
Right,
this team.
that's
yeah.
huge. So, do you ever have any family from your home come here and try your food and then experience Austin?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. I love it when my family comes here. I
Yeah.
just hosted them for the last New Year's Eve.
Okay.
And this was like the second time that they all come here all
Yeah.
together. My brother comes more often
Okay.
because my brother lives in Canada.
Oh, okay.
But my family they weren't very supportive in the beginning. When I told them I'm quitting my corporate job and
Yeah.
leaving Egypt, leaving the family, and because I'm Middle Eastern culture, they're very family oriented. We all live together. Even like you don't really move out, unless our culture is very different,
Yeah.
right? Even a lot of European countries, a lot of Middle Eastern countries, you don't really move out until you get married,
Yeah.
until you have your own family. Here it's so different. Like here, you're like you hit 16. I'm like, I'm gone.
Yeah.
There's good and pros and
Yeah.
cons. Like it's a good thing that you build your independence from a young age.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like there's something sad about that. Like as soon as you're young adult and you're still in your teenagehood, there's so much responsibility
Yeah.
thrown on you, and so much expectation out of you. But yeah, I left from an early. I wasn't too young. I was 28 when I left.
yeah.
But still, they weren't very happy. They weren't very supportive of the whole move, and I'm like leaving my stable job and future and
Right.
going to Texas to cook and work in a kitchen.
Yeah.
But now they're all very proud.
I bet so.
Yeah, now a lot of them are investors in the
Yeah,
business, and
that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, they're all very happy now.
Yeah. So when you moved here, did you live at home with your family from there, and then you moved here to not living with your family at
Yes.
all? Like you lived
Yes.
at home there.
Yes.
I love
Which
that.
is a norm.
Yeah, yeah.
And I like I said, there's pros and cons about both.
For sure.
And in Egypt, in our culture, things are different now. People are moving out early now. But the normal of our tradition is that you stay with your parents until you get married, and until you start your own family and you break away. But otherwise, we live together, and you have your own room, you have your own income, you come and go as you like. No one, we don't have like
Yeah.
we don't have like any sort of boundaries from our parents.
Yeah.
Once we're adults and we have our own jobs,
Right.
we can buy our own cars and we have our own separation and independence.
Yeah.
We just live together.
Do you pay rent?
When you
live
with
at
them,
home?
No.
Okay.
No, that's a
Because
nice
here
thing,
would be
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, it's time for you to pay
Oh,
rent.
that's right. Yeah.
Time to start
It's
paying.
like American culture. It's like
That's right.
Either you do chores or you pay.
That's
rent.
exactly right. You're going to pay somehow. Then something. Or even just cook. I mean, cook me a meal every
sure,
night. I'm
sure,
good with that. Yeah, for sure.
But no, we didn't pay rent.
I love that. Okay, so will you do something for Thanksgiving? Are you open?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we're not open for Thanksgiving Day.
Okay.
I mean, I like to give the team a break and time to celebrate with their families.
Mm-hmm.
But for this year, we finally found some time to do Thanksgiving pre-orders,
Okay,
which
yeah.
I'm really excited about.
I saw that,
For
yeah.
our turkeys, we do like citrus and garlic brine, and then we heavily dust it with za'atar, and we smoke the turkey breasts.
Okay.
But we're doing whole briskets, whole racks of lamb, and pork ribs, and we're collaborating with Tiny Pies
Oh, yeah.
this year, which is so exciting. I love Tiny Pies.
Uh-huh.
And we were out in Formula One selling food,
Yeah.
and Tiny Pies were our neighbor. So we traded food all day.
That's
I was
awesome.
like, let's get some pies, and we gave them brisket bowls.
That's fantastic.
And I love these people, so I told them like, we would love to sell your pies for
Yeah.
Thanksgiving. So we're basically selling their pies through our website.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is on Thanksgiving you're available to come to Colorado to cook me some of those lamb chops.
I didn't say that.
Okay. Darn.
That's gonna
Because
cost you a lot.
yeah, I know. I'm kind of prepared to pay after what I just ate. I'm not gonna lie.
You guys
it
have
was
good lamb in
amazing.
Colorado.
Well,
don't know.
we live in Fort Worth, but our son lives in Colorado, so we're
Okay.
going to see him. So
Okay.
even if I had it in my hands, I wouldn't know what to do with it.
Yeah, it's
That's
so
you.
easy. You guys should try it.
No, but you know what? Last thing I did see on your website, you have brisket making classes. Tell us what do you do for that? Like you just
We just had one this morning actually.
did you?
Yeah. So one of the ways I built my brand before the food truck was through brisket classes in general, not
Okay.
just brisket. So and private dinners, and I would go to people's homes and cook them barbecue
Yeah.
or Egyptian food or And one of the things I did was teach classes out of my own kitchen. Usually, I was on this online platform where I had uploaded like 8 different menus,
Yeah.
and people book seats in my table, on my kitchen table,
Yeah.
which I had so much fun. Met some great people doing that. So now I don't have time to teach any classes other than the brisket class, once every 2 weeks.
Wow.
And they're usually sold out, like maybe a month out.
Yeah.
But we host it here inside the brewery,
Oh, okay.
and it's for 35 people.
Oh, wow.
Once every 2 weeks.
That's
It's
awesome.
usually on a Sunday morning, and the class is about 3.5 hours. And I like to explain it as it's a brisket 101,
Yeah.
because people are not familiar with brisket. It's a challenging cut. It takes a long time.
Yeah.
It can be very intimidating to get
Yeah.
into. So I like to say that it's like we don't hang out and cook a brisket together for 12 hours,
Right.
but there's so much information that you need to know
Yeah.
before you start this journey of smoking brisket.
Yeah.
And there's so many things that can go wrong in so many ways.
Yeah.
So I just cover so much. I cover things from what is the brisket? What is the anatomy? Where does it come from? What is the grading of meat? How do you buy it? What do you look for? How to trim it? Why we trim it? How to season?
Yeah.
The whole process of smoking and different types of smokers. And then we talk about the cooking and the resting and the slicing. And then I take them to the smoker, talk about fire and fire management. So
Wow.
it's very extensive.
That's so cool.
A great introduction. Like for sure, your first brisket is always gonna suck.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you take that class, your first one's gonna be okay.
Yeah,
at
it's
least,
too
yeah.
expensive for it to suck the first time.
that
it's
is true.
Yeah, it's
That
not
is
cheap
true.
at all. And what I really feel like you should do is, I think you need to do the same thing with the lamb chop class. I mean, I consider it.
Oh yeah.
Consider
Yes.
it
We're
because
actually-
clearly we don't know how to do that. So
Yeah, I'm actually working on it. It's taking a lot longer than I expected
Yeah.
because of how busy. But there is a lamb class
okay.
cooking.
Yeah.
I'm working on a curriculum, and we're gonna announce it soon, probably sometime early next year.
So
But we're gonna work on a lamb class, and I mean I love lamb, and I love cooking it, and I love introducing people to it.
Yeah.
And we've been working with the American Lamb Board recently because they love what we do. We're kind of putting lamb on the barbecue map.
Yeah.
And they've hired me multiple times to go cook for chefs and cook for restaurants, to introduce lamb to them and
Yeah.
tell them how to cook it. And
So smart.
yeah,
Yeah.
So
So
yeah,
smart.
it's in the works. Yeah,
Well, you know what you're doing.
Yeah,
You
thank
know what
you.
You're doing.
Thank
And Kareem,
you.
we thank you so much for sitting for just a minute with us. I know you're super
Absolutely.
busy, but we appreciate you so much.
Absolutely.
And will not be the first time we drive to Austin for a lamb chop. It will
Yeah.
definitely it'll happen again.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, thank you guys
Thank you so much.
Thank you.